Oh, truth. Okay, Pascal, what is the best kept secret for health and healing and
I'm glad you've asked.
vitality?
Thanks for asking that question. Let me think. Hey, the best kept secret is that the only food created for consumption is actually fruits and vegetables. Anything else is kind of um, um, humans doing an alchemical thing where they're trying to like break atoms and do stuff to the food, and then we come up with stuff like flour, which is actually toxic. But that's pretty much that's the gist of it.
Yeah, like man
Am
knows
I
how to
right?
make like foods that are delicious, but are they actually food? Like, every culture has its traditional cuisine. And when you look at what we do to it, we're like drenching the food with like oil, we're frying it, we're cooking it. We're the only species that cooks our food before we eat
We're
it.
transforming it, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But all the food that is already that you can eat that's already prepared
Hmm.
is fruits and vegetables. I mean, you can cut it up and stuff,
Absolutely.
but
And there's a reason fruit
um,
tastes so good just as is. Even with vegetables, you can tell we're not really supposed to eat so much because they really fruit vegetables, like botanically classified, you know, vegetables that are botanically classified as fruit, like tomatoes, zucchini, cucumber. Okay, those I like plain. But when it comes to like the greens and stuff, I'm definitely wanting to put some flavor with it. How about you?
I suppose so. Yeah, the leafy greens. I've
Yeah.
heard that they're tough to break down. I guess the fiber or something. But at this point, it's okay, right? It's I would eat lettuce. I mean, lettuce is obviously better than flour
Oh my
or
gosh, for sure.
um, or anything that's transformed.
Anyone who's joining us live or catching the recording, you may or may not know Pascal. He's from Ottawa, Canada. He's a certified regenerative detox specialist. I was mentioning about him earlier. He's helping me out here at the Raw Reset. So thank you, Pascal. You're so welcome here. And thanks for kind of just launching into the information. I leave it to you today. If you've caught our previous lives, I went through the intention of these lives. And I mean, I don't need to go through that now. I think we jump into this because in about 20 minutes, we're holding space in a private sharing circle. So we'll have to shut this down. So, guys, this is for you. If you have any questions about regenerative healing, just pop them in the comments. We'll be having a look during this next 25 minutes here. And in the meantime, we could jump into this. You could lead us, yeah, Pascal, about the best kept secret to healing and vitality.
Well, okay, so the next question, you have to ask me the number one question I get asked by people around me, and go ahead. I think you had the
Okay,
question
so
there.
what is the number one question
No,
you get?
yeah. Um,
Oh, I already know. Okay, so wait,
yeah,
Pascal, if it's
ask
just
me.
fruits and vegetables that you're eating, where are you getting your protein?
Oh, no, not the protein question.
That's the protein discussion.
Okay. Um, okay. So as you ask me this every week, I'm gonna get better at answering the question.
Okay.
So the body creates its own protein. What is protein anyways? Protein is uh, it's basically the wall what the body creates protein to create the walls of the tissue, right? It also uses protein to to move things through the body with proteins. But so with protein, what we want to go and talk about is amino acids, because uh, protein is made out of amino acids.
Yeah, you don't
And
actually use protein, guys. You have to break it down into amino acids.
exactly. And so when people are saying, oh, well, you know, you're a vegetarian, you're a vegan, you're a raw vegan, you're a fruitarian, well, where do you get your protein? You should eat meat, or you should eat grains and that sort of stuff. But what happens with the body with these complex proteins is that it takes a long time to break down the protein molecules into their individual amino acids, because it's from the amino acids that the body creates its own protein chains. And I'm pretty sure you, like, if you picture all this protein like in a steak, thank God I haven't eaten meat for, I think it's over 8 years maybe. But just think of, okay, all the tissue, all the protein molecules in meat that the body has to start breaking down, and it's also acidic, so the body doesn't want to keep the meat in the gut for very long. So I'm pretty sure that uh, the body doesn't break down all the protein, right? So I'm thinking free radicals, all these random chains that that aren't um, controlled easily by the body. That's what I see going on with all these chains and all this matter that you can't really digest easily.
On that note, thank you so much for that. We actually have some beautiful free resources I mentioned at the beginning of this video. If you're just jumping in live, in our group, the Raw Reset here, we have files that are really beautiful free resources. And one of them is called The Truth About Protein. And
the
it
protein
actually,
myth.
Sorry, maybe it's The Protein Myth.
That's just me adding it. Yeah.
No, but it's true. I don't really know if that's the exact title, guys, but just look in the files to see something about protein. That's the one. It'll say protein in the title, and it'll show you a diagram of how your body has to break down the protein into these different chains. And some of it actually is not even used. And it's like, actually, fruits and vegetables are filled with amino acids, and that's what actually gives them their structure. So we look at these like ninja guys, like these athletes, these men and women who can like throw themselves like monkey bar to monkey bar and are so built and fit that are plant-based. And we are just shocked and appalled because we've been brainwashed all our lives that, animal protein is the way to achieve strength and endurance and to build up all the structures in our body, like Pascal, you were saying earlier. So guys, leave us your questions. I actually have an eye photo I might be able to share. A dear one contributed an eye photo.
Is that my set of eyes? Is that what you're talking about?
Why am I being so evasive? Who's this mystery dear one? Or well, what do you think, Pascal? I would like you to lead this call because I know you're better with time management,
Well, of course, I think that's we should get onto that. But there's one point that I would like to, well, hold on. Can I read this sentence here? I've been doing some writing.
Yes, please.
And so, okay. First, I'd like to establish the fact that the body is intelligent and does in fact possess the ability to regenerate tissue. The problem is that our diet obstructs this process. And I was trying to establish in my own mind, what the steps are, because I think there's two sides to this, and one is our diet that is actually acidic and creating a lot of acidity and forcing a reaction. It's creating an immune response in the body, and that immune response is the lymph system creating mucus in order to sort of buffer the acids. And then that's one side. The other side is the molecular waste of each cell in the body. I don't know, we've got trillions of cells, and they're eating from the blood, and then they're pooping, right? And this waste goes in the lymph system. I mean, we'll talk about that later, but because of the diet that creates a mucus reaction, this metabolic waste can't leave essentially get stuck in the body. So those are the two sides, right? There's the diet that we have to clean up, and then there's the lymph system there's the waste that's
and
cellular waste.
Why does it get stuck in the body is all the acids, even toxins, your body sees them as acids, right? So acids in chemistry are not only hot, inflammatory, corrosive, degenerative, and inflammation is another word for acidosis, can be used interchangeably. But also acids stick everything together. They create like an agglomerated state, like a condition of sticking and congestion. So picture a body of water, because we're made up of 75% lymph fluid. So they always say, oh, you're made up of water, right? This is what they're talking about. So picture a body of water in nature that goes stagnant. You got a pond that's not moving. It doesn't have a flow. And now all of a sudden you have like stagnation, you have bugs, you have algae, you're not going to be wanting to drink out of this water, right? Mm-hmm. So it's the same with the lymphatic system. It has to be moving, it has to be hydrated. So alkalinity is the key, guys. When you alkalize your body, which is the opposite of being, in a state of acidosis, alkalizing in chemistry, alkali are cool. They put out the fire and they're hydrating. So they actually move the lymph. So the mucus and everything starts coming out. And I can give an example because recently I had a sore throat. And, I actually was like, oh my God, okay, I have all the tools I have, I've learned over the years to heal this relatively effortlessly and easily and support my body, because that sore throat is just my body's way. I'm actually supposed to jump for joy when I have cold and flu-like symptoms, because it's your body's way of getting out these acids that are so harmful and all this excess mucus that is really just expectoration. Bringing up mucus is just how we get rid of these harmful substances. So this sore throat starts to take place, and I just get on the Concord grape juice, the lemon. I'm like fasting all day. I haven't really wanted to go hard into fasting so much. So I think I was maybe eating a bit more than my body wanted. And all the cooked food I've been having lately, even cooked vegetables, is acidic. And that's been causing some stagnation. So whatever was happening was for my own good. And so I said, okay, I'll eat a small meal at night, but mostly for the day, I'm just fasting on fruits and Concord grape juice. And I know eating fruits isn't technically fasting, but we digest them so easily. I kind of consider fruit feasting like a fast, and all of a sudden, like within like a few days, I'm 100% better. And I think other people who, maybe wouldn't understand that this is a healing mechanism of your body, they would just get down in the dumps and think they have like this virus and just like suffer, continue doing what they were doing that made them sick in the first place.
So tell me, how did you feel better? Can you explain a little bit?
So I had needle-like pain in my throat. I woke up with one day and then, it kind of lingered for like 3, maybe 4 days at the most. And like by day 4, I'm 100%. So
well, when I've fasted recently, and I remembered how, I don't want to say how easy it is, but it was just for 2 days. And I mean, my mind was clear. My emotions were balanced. And I just felt good.
Yeah.
And you know, sometimes I don't want to do stuff, you know, that
Mm.
stuff I got to
Yeah.
do around the house. Well, instead of not wanting to do them, I just went ahead and did it
Yeah.
because they had to be done, you know. It's so clear-mindedness.
Sometimes it's nice not to have a choice. You know, you pencil something in that has to get done, like show up for work or something. It's kind of nice to just get over yourself. Like, who's the one driving this car? Am I going to let a little scratchy throat, you know, interfere with, you know, whatever it is I'm looking to achieve? And of course, there are periods where your body really requires a lot of rest. And I get that too. So there's a
Mhm.
fine line there. But yeah, it's amazing that you're on this journey, Pascal. I'm so happy to connect. And I have to say, your energy is so light and effervescent today.
Is it? Well, good.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I feel like all the fruit and all the fasting has paid off, because you know a
Yeah.
lot of people in during the holiday season use it as a time to indulge, and then we'll get back on
Overeat.
track in
Yeah.
January and indulge in like the flour, like you mentioned, the cake
Oh
and
my
stuff.
God.
And I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie, I had a couple of slices of cake over the holidays too, and I was like, oh my gosh, like Jim's eating, so because I think there was even some egg in there. And I honestly believe that the sore throat, you know, wouldn't have
Oh yeah.
come if I wasn't having these offensive foods, you know.
Yeah.
We have about 5 minutes here. I'm going to try to share my screen just to give people a taste of iridology, because, you
Yeah.
know, or what do you think,
That's.
Pascal?
I think that's a good idea. Let's
Yeah.
let's take a look at some eyes, and then
Guys, this is so exciting. Let me see. Desktop. We're going to share. Tell me if you could see my screen. Yeah.
I can see it. Yep, that's my eye. That's
There's
my.
your eye. So this is his iris, everyone. So the science of iridology is very, very old. There are many books on this. Dr. Bernard Jensen, one of our mentors and teachers, worked with iridology for over 75 years. I have his book here, and basically I could show you the book in a sec, because it's basically iridology simplified. You could see if you're interested in learning more about this science. You can also check out my website to learn more, thehealingjunction.ca. Just click iridology. This is my joy. This is my passion. It's something that has really helped me to heal. So can you see the cursor when I move it around?
I can, yes. And just to be specific, this is my right. I think this is my right eye.
Correct. I can tell because I can see in the
Okay.
photo.
Now, can you remind me? So this is on my
Right
from
side.
my perspective, it's the right eye.
Yeah, that's your
Is that
right eye.
how? Okay, so that's in iridology. That's how it works.
It does
It's
work
from
like that.
your perspective. Okay.
Yeah, and I have to say, okay, first off, do you see here around the pupil, guys? The first ring outside of the pupil, we look for these dark lines. And I have to say, you have relatively you have little of these lines, which
Like
would
spokes.
indicate,
Okay.
that would indicate, if it was more black, that would indicate over acid stomach. So I can tell that you're not a meat eater, because
Okay.
really meat eaters they end up overproducing acid in the stomach to break down, you know, the hydrochloric acid breaks down the protein. So you don't actually need hydrochloric acid, guys. Like, if you're like very little, if you're not eating dead animals. The ring outside represents the GI tract. And this is where I really like to focus, this ring here. And all of this, it just looks like mostly heavy lymph. Yeah, there's some lymphatic stagnation, Pascal, inside the gut wall.
Mm-hmm.
And I could see here, guys, what color do you guys think this iris is? So there's actually only 2 colors to irises. There's blue and there's brown. And so these are actually blue eyes.
Thank God.
Yeah, that are having a little bit of white on top, which represents some acute genetic weakness. And this is why with green eyes, when you see the yellow on top, sorry, with blue eyes, when you see the yellow on top, it makes green eyes. They're actually blue eyes. So I have a client right now who's got like hazel, which means a lot of chronic genetic weaknesses. And she cannot wait until she detoxes and gets her blue eyes back, not that, the hazel aren't beautiful too. So, and I see right here, I would really have to map this out, and I close this down in a minute.
Of course.
Because we jump off.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So you said there's the so the gut wall. You know how in my eyes it looks like a star. There's like all these.
Yes. It's like a big flower, this shape here.
Yeah, yeah. Is that the bowel wall?
That's the outside of the GI wall. You could see some ballooning. Okay. You could see some prolapsing. And you could see that also genetic weaknesses, dear one, because I mean, the stronger the constitution, the more the lines are just fine and together and tight. So anytime we see these flowers, there's just some weaknesses. I wanted to point out this one here, which is really noticeable. And guys, you can strengthen any genetic weaknesses, so don't worry. So since this is the right eye, I would really have to map it out more precisely, but this is a rough reading here just to introduce iridology into your life. This would be the right lung, some genetic weakness.
Okay, interesting.
Okay, so if you were to, do you anytime have issues with your right lung? Do you feel that?
I would say my lungs in general, yeah.
Oh, your lungs in general have some weakness? Yeah. Okay, you do feel that. So I was gonna say, because some people would say, oh, well, no, I don't feel anything. I don't feel anything in my right lung. And I say, okay, well, that's right now. But when we get you on this program where you're actually supporting the body's elimination versus suppressing it with all these cooked foods, right? And maybe medications.
Tighten everything, right?
Ooh, yeah, just like building your walls up against the world, with the spiritual and emotional body and things and mental body, but just sticking with the physicality so we don't get too far out there. They will very likely experience detoxification reaction where that weakness is. So Pascal, when you detox, you probably get some real expectoration, hey, like some mucus coming up from the lungs, and they're our biggest organ, one of our biggest organs other than our skin and our kidneys for elimination. So
that's interesting too. Yeah, elimination. That's very interesting.
Well, when you expectorate mucus, you're eliminating waste. So we can continue this topic maybe for next week.
Of course.
This has been so fun. We have a couple people who want to come into our private share group. So we close this down now. And over there, we're going to do a meditation, guys. We're going to open up about our current experiences with just healing ourselves naturally on all levels. So you're so welcome to join us there. Just check our bios. It says how to join our sharing circles, and you'll get the Zoom link there. We also advertised it just in the discussion. So if you have any last words, we could close this down, Pascal, and move on to the next private group share.
This has been fun. Let's do this again. And get into details. Let's get into the nice details, because there's a lot of stuff like you mentioned the pH, right? I'm still trying to figure out, what is it, and and the other, like cool stuff, like what happens to food when you cook it, and then one last thing is the cleanup crew. Okay, the cleanup crew. And we'll talk about this in the next time.
Oh,
this is really cool.
Oh, I'm so excited. Thank you for joining me, Pascal.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks to everyone who joined us live and who's maybe catching the recording. We'd love to hear from you, and just sending you so much love.
Yeah,
until next
just
time.
Put everything in the comments.
Yay! Yay. Okay. Let us know, guys. Mwah.
Okay,
See you
see you
next
soon.
time.